Hi students, in this session I'll teach you how to take notes or how to make notes with the help of few tips. And note taking is one of the lab components for you. It's a second session in the lab. Why to take notes? What is the necessity of taking notes? This note taking is not a new concept or new phenomena. It is just when you're listening to your lectures or when you're listening to your teachers, maybe in your intermediate or maybe 10th, you used to write a kind of important points or gist of what your teacher said. Am I right? Especially the students who are interested to, generally what happens, you will take the books before the exams. But there are a couple of students who are very curious to remember, learn, and what they do is, every day in the class when the teacher says something, they used to write running notes, and after going home, they open the notes and check whatever they have learnt, and they cross-verify it with the textbook, and they prepare the material on their own, which is nothing but self-learning. If they have any doubts, immediately they'll bring to the notice of the teacher. That's very, very important for any learner because it leads to self-learning. So once if you are habituated to taking notes by listening to something and referring by going for extensive and intensive reading, and then if you learn on your own, that's nothing but self-learning. So if you get any doubts, that is not only from whatever madam said in the class or your teacher said in the class. That may be related to the concept which your teacher taught you in the class, which helps you in enhancing your reading capability, understanding, and your listening capability. If you miss anything, immediately in the next class, you need to go to your teacher and rectify your doubts. So, and clarify your doubts. So, when you do so, you have been practicing this note taking from so long. It is not a new concept at all. So that's nothing but note taking. When you read a notes, when you read textbooks, and if you prepare a material by using the textbook, if you read your textbook and make material by using your textbook, what you do, you underline the important words, phrases and everything in your textbook, and you jot down in your notes. Based on that, you just prepare your material. That's nothing but note making. So note taking is a listening process. You listen to a lecture or you listen to an audio or you listen to a video and you prepare notes. That is note taking. When you read a text, when you understand the text, and while reading the text, if you make notes or prepare notes, that's nothing but note making. It's a reading process. So note making is a reading skill and note taking is a listening skill. Is it clear? Clear so far? Yes. So in this video, you will learn what is the introduction, as I already mentioned, the introduction of the topic, what is note making, and the next one is what are the objectives of note making, and what are the methods which are very, very important of note making, and the procedure how to write in your record, because this is a lab task. So as I already mentioned, there are a couple of note making exercises which you will be doing after the session is done, and record of learning experiences and information written form during lecture or listening to a session. It's nothing but note taking. And then it is a process of reviewing, connecting and synthesizing ideas. It's a process of reviewing, connecting, synthesizing ideas from lecture or reading. As I mentioned already, it is lecture or reading. If it is lecture, it is related to note taking. If it is a reading, it's related to note making. Each learner is encouraged to select or develop a note making or taking task which best suits their learning style and program. So after participating in note taking or note making activity, what the learner is going to get. What is the learning objective of the learner? So when we design the course, we feel that the learner is going to acquire these skills. Okay, so understand the meaning of note making, explain why making notes is important, learn to make notes from the textbooks and lectures. So this is nothing but learning objective. So this is there in the mind of a teacher when we are delivering you the content related to note making or note taking. What are the objectives? To make sure that the students or the learners will learn the skill of note taking or note making, and they present their ideas when they listen to directly on that on a paper, and when they read they could present their ideas. So coming to note making or note taking. So what are the methods? This is very important. So the methods are very, very important for note taking or note making. So the first one is cornell method, where there is a particular format for it, and you are supposed to apply that format when you are writing or selecting this method. And then outline method, you need to write in the form of an outline. And then mapping method, it's a pictorial representation. And then charting method, it's in the form of a chart. And then sentence method. So just if we listen to any lectures in if when you want to take very fast or something, sentence method is almost approachable. You can select sentence method because at that time you cannot identify the things and write. When you are listening to the lecture, whatever important words or phrases you have to write, just underline those words or sorry. So sentence method is appropriate when you are choosing any listening task, because in the first listening you need to just write down the important words and phrases which are required, or dates, years, areas. So anything which is very, very important, you need to immediately write down. So for that, sentence method is appropriate because you can write down immediately. Okay, and then charting method for any kind of for example ragging rules or any kind of ragging issues or something like punishment. So any categorization like that, go for charting method. Or maybe in a classification or something, you will go for tree diagram, which is mapping, or brainstorming your ideas, mapping. So when you are talking about outline method, it has its own features like thesis statement, as I mentioned earlier. So you have to identify the thesis statement, and based on that you need to write the subtopics of it. So there is some format for outline method and for cornell method also. So altogether, how many methods of note taking are there? 5 methods. What are they? Cornell method, outline method, mapping method, and then charting method, followed by sentence method. Yes. Now what is the requirement of taking notes? Why you have to take notes? So generally when you see the memory capability, unless you maintain a material or unless you have material, so what happens is your memory is very, very short lived in many cases, especially. So when it is related to after lecture, after listening to a lecture, 20 minutes, maybe 47% of the material you may be forgotten. So taking notes facilitates learning by allowing you to become an effective learner, and then notes help you remember information. Now after lecture, if you listen for 20 minutes, so material which you forget is 47%. That means your mind recap only 53%. That's it. Or for after one day, 62% you forget. After 2 days, you forget 69%. And after 10 weeks, that means almost after 2.5 months, you forget 75%. And after 15 weeks, maximum you forget 95%. You forget 95% of the information which you listen to through a lecture. So taking notes is very, very important. So there is a 3-step process for learning, or for taking or making notes. The first one is organization, and then record the ideas, and after that review of the notes. So after writing the notes, you need to go for a fair draft also. Initially you take notes, which is the rough draft, and once you have taken the rough draft, you need to organize the ideas and thoughts in a sequence, and then you have to record everything in a particular book or something, and then you need to review your notes whether it is right or not, and then you have to finalize. So process of making notes. So how to make the notes? The first one, you have to take notes, create the notes, and then processing notes and connecting. Yes. So I just mentioned 5 different methods of making notes or taking notes. So first method is cornell method. So it is like this. There should be a particular format, and based on the format you are supposed to take. Especially you need to write the name of the topic, and then date. You have to write all that at the top, and then here the keywords, and then related points of the keywords. You need to mention like that, and it should be in phrases. You are not supposed to write sentences here, and then the entire concept you have to summarize here. So in such a way you need to write cornell method. When it is outline method, as I said, thesis statement, you have the main topic sentence for every paragraph. So when you have a topic sentence, that topic sentence will give the gist of the entire paragraph. So select that topic sentence. And before going to this, I need to tell you what a paragraph consists of, and after that we'll go in detail into outline method. So how a paragraph constitutes, or what are the components of a paragraph? The first thing is topic sentence, and supporting sentence, example. Topic sentence, supporting sentence, and then example. So if there is one topic sentence, so topic sentence followed by one supporting sentence in some paragraphs, maybe 2 supporting sentences or 3 supporting sentences, and some supporting sentences may have examples, some supporting sentences may not have examples. So based on that you have to take this. You have to take the outline, and if you observe the format, it's entirely different. There is some format for it. So first topic sentence you need to write here at this corner. If you observe here, topic sentence, main topic 1, first paragraph. For example, you have 2 paragraphs, you will be getting 2 main topic sentences. If it is 3 paragraphs, 3 main topic sentences, and in first paragraph you have 2 supporting statements. So supporting statement 1, subtopic 1, and supporting statement 2 is subtopic 2, and examples. So individually, if you have supporting statement 1 has some details or some examples, so immediately next to that you will be getting the examples like this. Subtopic is nothing but supporting statement, and then individually any detailing of it followed by examples. So in such a way you have to write an outline method. And then when it goes to mapping method, based on the passage which is given, you have to select the proper mode of mapping. At times, if it is classification, you can go for tree diagrams. If it is kind of process, you can go for flow chart. Or if it is any kind of percentile or something like that, you can go for graphical representation or bar diagram. So based on the passage given, you have to select the appropriate method in mapping. And then if any in charting method, you could see sub A, subtopic 2, and each has individual points. For example, when you are calculating, maybe in a shop, they want to give you bill. So what they will do, they'll write the serial number and they'll write the item which you have taken and they'll write the amount of that item. So it's something like a chart. In the same way, when you are given a chart like that and you are asked to write in the words, you should know the proper sentence structure and you should know the proper paragraphing. Okay, that anyhow we will discuss in paragraph and essay writing. And after that, sentence method. Sentence method is directly you have to write in the form of a sentence based on the important points. Maximum all the topic sentences, if you accumulate, automatically you will get the gist of the listening comprehension or gist of the activity which you have listened to. Okay. So in a nutshell, first one, Cornell method. You have a proper format. You have to write the name of or the title of the topic. You need to write the date. You need to write the maybe related to whatever concept is given. See the spacing also. When you go for this, 2.5 inches spacing is required at the top, and notes it is 6 inches spacing. And then cues you will be writing on one side, and other side you will be writing the notes which relevant to that, and down summary. And at the top, the title and date as well as class, like this. So this is the format or the template of it. So first one, your name. In the Cornell method, first one you have to write your name, and then here it is date and topic. What is the title you are going to give for the paragraph or passage? That topic you write here. And then subject. What is the subject you need to mention? And then main ideas are nothing but the key points. You can see one example beside that. And then notes related to the respective key points, and summarize the entire concept. In general, when you go for any biographies or any kind of classification mode or something like that, for classification again we go for tree diagram. That means in mapping method. Even this method also you can select for that, but mapping method would be appropriate for classification. So name, topic, date, subject, and then main ideas of the key points, and here notes related to the key points, and down summary. So in this format you are supposed to write Cornell method. Okay, when you are taking Cornell method, you need to write like this. And here don't write, even if you want to write any abbreviations and all that, above the summary you can write keys for abbreviation, where you can elaborate whatever abbreviated forms you have written. For example, here if I write B4 for before, so down I can write keys for abbreviation, and I write B4 equal to B4. Like in this I have written like this in order to indicate before. So here I just write keys for abbreviation, and I have to write before, like this. So if I select any abbreviated words, or if I write or create my own abbreviations also, I have to mention like this above the summary. Is it okay with this format? So when you are writing in Cornell method, Cornell notes, no need to write Cornell notes. The name itself, the format itself indicates it's a Cornell method. You need to write the name, topic, and class, date. Here instead of subject, you can write class. And then main ideas, which is nothing but key points, and the points related to the key points, and then keys for abbreviation followed by summary. So this is nothing but Cornell method. So when it goes to outline method, so what would be the procedure? Already we have seen this format. So outline method should be written in such a way that the thesis statement or the topic sentence, for example, in outline method, if you have 2 paragraphs in the passage given, so how many thesis statements or how many topic sentences you have? 2, right? So those 2 points you have to identify first. So read the passage carefully and identify the key points or identify the topic sentences of those two paragraphs. And then what are the sub points? So give some space here and give some other number or other maybe letter or Roman figure or other alphabet, and then write that sentence in brief. Don't write the complete sentence. And if sub points are 2, then you have to write A, B. If the sub points are 3, you will get C also. And in second paragraph, if you have 2 sub points, A and B. If you observe the difference, all the sub points starts at the same point and all the main points start at the same point. Now in A you have some example. You can take another alphabet or maybe you can take another Roman figure and you write. If 2 examples are there, 1, 2. If there are no examples here, no need to write anything. Again, if there are examples here, give like this. So in such a way you have to maintain the distance. We can call it as indenting. So you have to indent the different points based on the sentences. So this kind of format you follow for outline method. So again I am telling you the topic sentences, for each paragraph you have a single topic sentence, and each topic sentence will have based on the paragraph, it may have 1 supporting sentence or 2 or 3 or more than that. And each supporting statement, they may have some examples or may not have some examples. So when you're reading, you need to underline those things carefully and you have to answer. Write in the particular format. For this, any passage will suit for outline method. So in general, when you're picking up writing for note taking, in general I suggest you to go for this method. So next one is mapping method, which as I mentioned already, it's something like mind mapping kind of pictures you can draw, or tree diagrams or flow charts, or maybe bar diagrams or pie charts. Anything is or graphs, anything is accepted. So but you should convey whatever is there in the paragraph in the form of a picture, or whatever is there in the picture you need to convey in the form of a paragraph. So next one, charting method, as I mentioned already, when it has any categories or types or anything, you can mention in this charting method. Like this, topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, like this, different details. So based on the lecture, you can go for sentence method. So just whatever you listen, immediately if you keep on writing, that's nothing but sentence method. Because when you listen to something, you cannot make it into paragraphs. You will keep bullet points and you keep on writing. In general, like running notes and all that. Especially when you listen to lecture also, you do this same format. Like this. Sentence 1, covering key details of the topic. 2, like that. So how many ever sentences based on the lecture. Especially if you want to excel, to conclude in a nutshell, if you want to excel, you need to practice this as many times as possible, because reading and making notes is a little bit easy compared to listening and taking notes, because you have your book and you can listen, but you have your book and you can read. But when it is a listening activity, there are many competitive exams where they make you listen twice. And after that you may not have the recording, you may not get the time to listen to. So practice, if you keep on practicing, automatically you can make notes at the same time, you can take notes by reading and by listening respectively. Okay. So this is a record pattern. In this lecture I have delivered you what is note taking and what is the importance of note taking, and what are the methods that are involved in note taking and note making. So what are the 5 methods? Cornell method, where there is a particular structure for it. You need to write the topic, you need to write the date, time and all that in the format given, and you have to write key points on left hand side, and you need to write related notes on the other side, and you have to write key for abbreviation if you are given any abbreviated forms, and then you need to summarize. So that is related to Cornell method. When it is outline method, you have thesis statement and subtopics. Based on that, you need to go for outline method. And third category, you have to go for mapping method, which is based on the pictorial representation. And fourth category is, what is the fourth category? It is charting method. So based on the list of the components, you can go for charting method. And ultimately sentence method. In general, you will be taking notes by listening to any lectures, and majority of the cases people will prefer sentence method because it is easy. Okay, so all these 5 methods are very useful when you are taking notes. So here, this is the write-up, and copy this because in the record when you are writing, because what is the topic here? TED Talk. TED Talk on water harvesting by Anupam Mishra. Okay, I want every one of you to listen to that and take notes from that. So when you have taken the notes, the format here is, what are the objectives of this concept? Note taking. What are the objectives? Proper template. So you need to select out of 5 templates which template is important, and then listen properly. That's very important objective. And then identify major theme and subpoints related to the topic. For outline method or for any method, you need to identify the major theme, or we can say topic sentence, and the subpoints. So that's very important. So this you have to write. And what are the skills that are being developed? So language skills, listening skills, and most important, using shortcut forms and abbreviations. That's also important. And time limit, half an hour you need to listen to, and after listening to the video twice, I'll be giving 20 minutes to just jot down the notes in a fair draft. Okay, and then mode is individual work. For this, no need to go for teamwork. And what is the procedure? So for everything there is a procedure, right? When you're doing your lab component, the teacher will ask you to listen to an audio or a video and take notes by choosing the relevant format. After listening to the audio, students will be given 20 minutes time to fare the rough draft into a fair draft. And then rubrics of the assessment. How I will give marks, because everything is connected with marks. So what are the parameters I will be giving for marks? The first one is proper selection of format. That's very important. And second one, identification of topics and subtopics within the passage or within the proper format is required, and then identification of topics and subtopics with apt examples. That's very important. And then students should use the relevant vocabulary, abbreviations, template and phrases without repeating any words. That's also very important. No repetition is encouraged. And then the teacher may also use this as an activity to help students enhance their listening skills. So this helps you in improving your listening skills. That's also important. So maybe in the next class, I'm expecting you to be ready with listening. And once you listen to what is actually listening and what are the methods of listening, or what are the types of listeners, and how the listeners enhanced listening skills were being enhanced. So in this session, I've explained you the different methods of note taking, and I gave you how to write in your record regarding this entire write-up of note taking regarding TED Talk. So in the next class, we'll see what is listening comprehension and how you need to listen to different audios or videos, and how you need to take notes. Okay, once you get used to, based on these templates, you need to listen to the TED Talk and you have to take notes. So based on these templates, you have to select the appropriate template for writing the listening activity, which is a TED Talk on Anupam Mishra's water harvesting. And you have to select the appropriate method, and in the next session you listen to that video and you have to take notes. Thank you very much. Meet you in the next session. Okay.